Yo guys, what is going on? Lucky here and welcome to a brand new top 5 video. With this time, as requested by many of you, the top 5 removed maps. So basically, just like my top 5 removed vehicles, I'll be ranking these 5 maps by using my personal opinion on how much I enjoy playing on these maps back in the day. So please keep that in mind when you're about to crucify me in the comment section for forgetting a map that you would have picked. So now guys, with that all said, let's get straight into the list. So at the number 5 position we have Hidden Village. So Hidden Village is a Asian style summer map. The map has 3 main combat areas, with the first one being the western area where almost all the heavy tank combat took place, the middle more open area where all the light tanks would circle around for spots when the TDs would mostly camp at the G7 area to take some shots at the tanks that the scouts lit up. And then there is the third northern island with the small city. This was usually the place where all the medium combat took place. And of course the artillery would situate itself in their spawn most of the times, as with pretty much every map. But overall I had a lot of fun playing on this map back in the day, since I was a big fan of the more close quarter heavy tank combat. And the fact that the map isn't so open and spread out also was a massive plus for me. So therefore I mostly enjoyed the battles that I had on this map, and it provided a nice variation from the million times that I had to play on those wide open camp your tits off until the time runs out maps like Camping Novka. And honestly, just like with all the other maps, I have no clue why Wargaming removed it, since I think that the majority of the player base, just like me, actually enjoy playing on this map, together with all the other old ones. So overall, I think Wargaming should listen less to those whining Clan Wars tryhards who keep calling every map imbalanced because they don't work with their tactics, and they should listen more to the other 90% of their player base who actually enjoy playing on these old maps and liked the variation it provided in the random battle game mode. But overall, since I don't want to make this a rant video, let's quickly move on to the number 4 spot. So then moving on to the number 4 spot, which is claimed by the almighty South Coast. South Coast used to be very popular at the time and very well appreciated by most of the players back in the days. Why was that? Well, that simply was because of the versatility it offered. It had so many different areas for all the different tank types, so pretty much no tank type was at a disadvantage on this map. So just no tank type was actually useless on this map as well, and that was mainly why I enjoyed this map so much. To start off with, you had the western flank, which was pretty much an open beach field where the longer range corridor fighting took place. Then you had the left midsection with the small buildings that was ideal for light tank spotting and combat. Then at the south and the north side you had the midsection with 2 elevated bridges that provided a perfect opportunity for tank destroyers to crossfire at the mediums and the lights that were fighting each other in the previously mentioned small city. Then you had the eastern area where the majority of the mediums and heavies would go, with some buildings and terrain elevation that provided a great overall combatization. And not to forget, both spawn points had nicely covered areas for artilleries to settle. So as you can see, this map basically fulfilled every tank type's wishes. So you rarely saw people bitching in the chat while the countdown was running about the map being useless for their tank type, like you see Arties doing on Himmelsdorf and Heavies doing on Camping Novka nowadays. So overall, I think South Coast was a great, versatile and fun map to play on, and therefore it definitely deserved the number 4 spot on this list. So at the number 3 position we have Seaport. This industrial harbor map was probably one of the very first maps I played on when I started playing World of Tanks. And just after playing on it a couple of times, I was completely blown away with how much fun this map actually was to play on. Because you had so many different combat areas. You had the 2 cities at the northern and the southern part where all the heavies would mostly situate to defend the caps. Then you had the center train tracks with the open field where mostly all the mediums and light would fight it out. And you also had the construction site at the right part of the map where more versatile combat and the piggy drowning took place. And of course, as the cherry on the cake, you had the infamous highway bridges that created a passage over the dangerous open field where also everyone just loved to jump off and squash a tank that was sitting below it, because I could barely remember a game on this map back in the days where no one jumped off the highway bridge in order to squash a tank that was standing below it. And that aspect just made this map so much fun to play, And also something that is definitely worth mentioning was the good old Chaffee race game mode on this map. Probably most of you veterans will remember the special fun game mode Wargaming put in for some time. Personally for me it was the best minigame Wargaming had ever put into the game. And for the newer players who don't know what I'm talking about, quite a lot of patches ago Wargaming added a minigame where you could race against each other in upgraded Chaffies. And you were basically racing over those highway bridges in the Seaport map. And it was just too much fun racing other players and trying to push each other off the main road. So mainly because of that little extra bonus feature, this map truly deserves the number 3 spot on this list. So then moving on to the number 2 spot, where we have Pearl River. So Pearl River was, in my opinion, hands down the most beautiful map in World of Tanks at its time. It was situated in a beautiful Asian forest with some villages and a massive river running across. And not only the looks were top notch, also the gameplay was right there with it, since the map had 4 main combat areas. You had the small passage in the east where all the heavy tank combat took place. You had the middleway passage where the mediums and lights would fight it out. You had the massive open riverbank in the center where all the light tanks would do their spotting runs. And you had the very long kind of snake route in the west of the map where all the faster mediums and heavies would go most of the time. So overall it offered a great and exciting combat while also being the most sexy map out there at its time. And I had so much fun playing on it back in the days while enjoying the beautiful graphics at the same time. So overall a great map and a definite true number 2 position on this list. So now the moment you probably all have been waiting for. The number 1 spot goes to Provence. Well, I think this map needs barely any introduction, because who doesn't know the old school Provence? But especially for the very new World of Tanks players who have sadly never played on this map before, Provence used to be a very small 600 by 600 meter map that was only accessible to low tier tanks. A bit like Mittengard is and Ensk actually should be. And I think tier 3 was the maximum tier that could play on Provence, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Oh well, I'll just probably get corrected in the comment section if I'm wrong, since you guys seem to be very good at pointing out my mistakes there. But nevertheless, basically Provence can be divided in 3 main vertical areas. One center low ground area where the 2 caps are located in the north and the south, and 2 high ground areas at the left and the right where the tanks all spawn. And most of the battles on Provence basically ended in one massive crossfire between the 2 high ground areas, with some speedy lights rushing down the center part. And I had so many good memories of me playing in my tier 2 T18 and just derping tanks all across the other side of the map. And I believe that I'm not the only one who thinks that way. But those good old memories are gonna get revived pretty soon, because Wargaming has announced on a conference in Minsk a couple of weeks ago that in update 1.0 they will rework and re-release the Provence map into the random battle rotation. It's gonna get changed quite drastically though, because they are gonna increase Provence's size to 1000 by 1000, which is the standard map size for most of the maps. And this also means that Provence in 1.0 will no longer be a low tier exclusive map anymore, which means that every tier can play on it. But Wargaming sadly also announced that they will be removing a lot more of the currently available maps as well, which are going to be Swamp, Mittengard, Windstorm, Stalingrad and Sacred Valley. But they are also adding a couple of brand new ones, which are indeed the new Provence map, Minsk, a map codenamed called Poland, and a map codenamed called Asian map to compensate for it. But yet again, they are removing 5 maps and only putting 4 new ones in the place. And I know the main reason is probably because Wargaming doesn't have enough time to convert all the existing maps in HD before 1.0's release date. But the thing that is worrying me the most is that they have said that they have no plans to convert and re-implement all the previously mentioned maps that are gonna get removed in 1.0 in the future. Which I just find rather stupid, because World of Tanks could become so much better if we had more and more maps to play on. It just keeps the game fresh and exciting if you add a lot of different maps into the rotation. But anyways, I think for now the only thing we can do is wait until 1.0 drops and hope for the best in the future. So guys, that was all for this top 5 video. So if you enjoyed it or found it useful, please consider giving it a like. I would highly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the channel and you like my videos, make sure to smack that subscribe button so you will stay up to date with all my future content. And also, let me know in the comment section down below what your top 5 removed maps is. I'm very curious on your opinion as well. But for now, I'm just going to say have an awesome day and I'll catch you guys later.